And we're like, hey, can we take Will on the road with us? I know he's 18, but we'll be good.
Wow.
Yeah.
And luckily, John and Mary were just like, yeah, just, he doesn't seem to want to go to college.
Like,
and
well, he has no other
than...
prospects right now.
Right.
So, just as long as he doesn't do drugs or have sex.
Yeah, which, we were like, yeah, sure, great. And,
Sit back, relax, 'cause it's time for another podcast.
What's happening, Sugarshack fam? Welcome back to another episode of our podcast. Today, Eddie and I have the pleasure of sitting down with some of our friends of Passafire. We're super excited to have this conversation. We're going to dive into some really cool topics. Passafire's been around for almost 20 years as a band, which is crazy. Damn. And, over seven studio albums.
Yep.
Yes.
7 studio albums,
Yep.
3 live albums.
Yep.
And a lot of them
Yes.
top chart songs came off of these albums. Man.
did some charting.
We hit the charts.
Hit the charts.
Yeah.
Hit the charts a few times.
We're not going to tell you what chart, but we hit it.
Yeah. So we're super excited to have you joining us tonight for this conversation.
Boom.
And welcome to the deck, Ted and Will.
It's good to be here.
Thanks for
Cheers,
having us.
boys.
Cheers.
Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Bill
it's
and
an
Ted
excellent
works.
adventure.
Yep.
Go ahead and say
Bill
it.
and Ted.
Let's just get that
Bill and
out.
Ted. Bill and Ted.
This is Bill. I'm Ted. Everything's excellent.
Everything is great. We see the deck every day on Instagram through
Hell yeah.
following Eddie or following Sugarshack. So it's like when you come here, like, oh, it's a real place.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
And a lot smaller than everyone always
That's
thinks.
Yeah,
Yep.
but I like that about it.
Yeah.
It's intimate.
It's very intimate.
Yeah.
That's what I've always liked about it.
Epic set today.
Great.
Thank you.
Super
Yeah.
epic set.
Thanks, guys.
How you feeling off of it? Good?
Yeah.
I think it went well.
That's literally the first time we're playing those songs acoustically. Like, we practiced one time for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's part of the charm is that it kind of like you're on tour. These always happen when we're on tour. So there's a limited time to rehearse or practice, and that kind of like bubbles up the most important elements of how you want to make that arrangement acoustically. And so it's like keeps you on your toes. The adrenaline's here. There's the live audience helps, and I guess we kind of just like bring ourselves to the moment.
I love it. But I think you guys can do that because you have so many years of experience, right? Like
Totally.
At this point, are you pretty much mind reading each other? You know what I'm saying? I mean, just feeling
Definitely
off of
some
energy.
telepathy,
Yeah.
I think, happening just from being close for almost 20.
Yeah.
Well, some of us 10, some of us 15, some of us 20 years, but all of us just spending so much time, not just playing music, but outside of playing music together. So, yeah.
Totally. Yeah, the vocabulary of how you describe what you want, or especially in the writing as the years go on, the telepathy is like, I'm not even going to bring this idea to the table because I know it'll be shot down right away.
So this is the
what
real
each
thing.
band
We're
member's
saying
going
that
to think of
this
it.
kind of
It's like
kind of communication. It's a thing. It's a
everyone
thing.
has their individual vocabulary with their instrument as well, and how to, as we've grown together with just playing and singing and recording or touring, there is like we do definitely have developed our own little language, sometimes telepathic.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I'll just shoot a look
Yeah.
right over to Nick. He knows.
he knows what does he know?
I don't know. I built that up just like stop.
Our terminology.
Or no, just hit that fill.
We definitely don't have precise terminology, but we have terminology for things that we all understand just because, that's what we call it. So when you develop that language as a band, you talk to each other in that language, then it's so much easier than being like, you go from the F sharp minor and then you augment, and it's like, no, just the pinky. Do the pinky.
Yeah,
the pinky. Yeah, the pinky.
Y'all were saying that today. Just no ring finger.
Yeah.
I heard you guys saying that today.
Yeah.
Everybody has their different language. We also say you never do 2 slowsies and a rosies
Sloozies and a rosies.
on the set list. Don't.
Yeah.
It's never a good
By
idea.
experience.
It's never a good idea.
Oh, yeah. It drops the vibe.
Don't. We're not that band. Some bands are.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if most of your songs are kind of like even keel, then it's just one vibe throughout. But if you've seen our band, we're definitely not one vibe at all. We try to keep it back and forth.
Nice and dynamic.
Odd keel.
Yep.
Love it. We brought Eddie tonight to the deck just because you guys have known each other for a little while now, and so I wanted to unpack how you guys met and like just the story, the evolution of just like meeting, and then how you guys have gotten close with Sugarshack.
That's a lot to unpack.
There's a lot there.
Those were like
long format
blurry tour times in my memory. Strangely, Ted has a great long-term memory for these kind of
Strangely
things.
enough, yes.
Strangely enough, like I'm always
Short-term.
impressed with the details Ted pulls out of his head. But it was
It was in Naples, Florida. I don't know the venue. Do you remember it? Not really relevant, I guess.
It'll
But
come
you
back
were
to me.
opening. You were like the first of three, and
Yep.
it was another band than us.
Sheffield crew.
Yeah, Sheffield crew from right here.
Yep, Naples.
And I remember like meeting you guys, but like I don't really remember like talking to you there very much that day. But then fast forward to getting into the Sugarshack thing and connecting. Then you're like, no, I actually did meet you at one point like several years ago.
You guys, that band that I was in, Common Ground at the time, we really looked up to you guys, and that was a huge night for us. That was one of the first opportunities that we ever had with like a touring artist. So that was like a big milestone for us, playing with y'all and
That's
opening up
cool.
for you guys.
I remember that for us. I think. What was it?
we have those bands for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, since then there goes a mouse.
There goes
Oh,
a big
that's
ass
a big-
mouse.
Sorry,
Yeah,
That
if
was
you
great.
look carefully at
big
this
that was
podcast,
just impressive. Sorry,
That's
Whoa.
a big squirrel.
we've had owls.
That was-
There's a mouse.
I
No
love
rats
that.
in
Rats.
Sugarshack.
A rat.
But
That's
it
a
was
rat.
lit like it was in a
My
Pixar
wife
movie.
likes to
Though.
call
It was,
those-
Some Ratatouille shit.
Mice, and I say I'm sorry that's
That's a rat.
actually a rat. She's like, kill the mice. I'm like, I know you don't want to say it, but that is a rat.
That's a
We have
rat.
a
It's a
rat
palm rat.
Yeah,
We're in the jungle.
we got rid of them though. Anyway,
yeah. Then our first Sugarshack session was at Cali Roots, I believe.
Yeah, Cali Roots, Carolina.
Cali Roots, Carolina. It was windy as hell, right? Was that that
32
one?
miles an hour
Yeah.
wind or some shit.
yeah.
You can get some
Our
good,
sessions
great,
like
There's no wind noise.
some wind blow, some wind.
There's like no
blowing
wind
vibes.
noise in that.
There's
we
not?
we get comments to this day about there's like how is there no wind noise? Because there's literally there's palm trees falling over in your set.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because we brought like potted palms.
I guess I'm remembering
Up.
just like how it sounded
Yeah.
through
I
the
think-
monitor maybe or something.
Yeah.
And there were bands playing in the background, but
Yeah.
That's the audio magic of Alex from the Shack.
Yep.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Isolation.
I do have to say that show that I played with y'all.
Yeah.
Whatever year that was.
Yeah.
I have no idea. That night, I deployed to South Korea because I was in the Air Force at the time.
That's right. We
So I
talked
went from
about
this huge night, first big
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
The band was like the most stoked, and then like fast forward like 3 hours later, and I'm like sobbing in the parking lot, saying goodbye to Lisa and all my
Dude,
friends in the
man.
band, and leaving for
That's intense.
That
3
night?
months. That night in the parking lot at the
Wow.
venue, I'm like
Wow.
sweaty.
Yeah.
So I just rocked out the Passafire too, and I had to say goodbye and head to Miami so I could deploy the next morning. It was a roller coaster of emotions that night,
That's
and
You-
there's one more thing that night I remembered. Someone was like hammered in the front row, and they fell into your mic stand. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, it hit
And
me in the
then
mouth.
right in your
Yeah.
front teeth,
I was
bro.
just talking to somebody about that
Dude, I was like,
2 nights ago.
I couldn't believe I was in shock, dude. I could because your look on your face was
Yeah,
like, oh
there's
my
2
God.
times where that's happened there,
Yeah.
and once in Asbury Park, and I remember them so well. 'cause
So
it was
gnarly, dude.
scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But,
it's a great
uh,
way to knock your teeth out.
Rock and roll, man.
yeah.
Rock
That
and
venue
roll.
was tight.
I didn't say that at the time. I was like, "Where is he?" But
But so how long were you deployed then?
I think it was like 90 days or something.
Okay.
It wasn't that much.
And then so you started the Shack shortly after that, or when you got
Yeah. I did 6 years and then started
Yeah.
this. I like.
Okay, so yeah,
I
we
got out for to like start
Yeah.
this.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
Here we go.
It's been amazing seeing it grow. Yeah.
It started out as something that, we were doing Mo Boogie
Yep.
out there, and we'd done Audio Tree, and we'd seen people doing this sort of format,
Right.
and and then we saw you guys pop up too, and we're like, oh hey, look, it's another one.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say you guys have risen above and taken on totally new levels of this format and other formats related to it, where I feel like nobody else has really touched that, and it's like, it's cool that you focus on our scene.
Yeah.
Because people come to the scene just because they hear about this cool video format. They can
Right.
go watch these acoustic sets.
Yeah.
And they're like,
100%.
oh man, these bands are really good. Who is that?
Yep.
So thank you.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man.
Mo Boogie, I mean, was a huge inspiration. I mean, I consumed all of their content.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did
way
we.
prior to Sugarshack. Watching all you guys, Tribal Seeds, Soja, like all those classics, dude.
Yeah.
On Mo Boogie, like
Mo Boogie,
Yeah.
the same as Sugarshack does now. People will hear about us through those platforms,
yeah,
like Toad
exactly,
Scene.
exactly.
And the
That's
audio
so
tree
huge.
was cool too. But
Yeah,
this
they're still cooking.
this offers, I think the fact that you say, please strip it down and just play acoustically,
Yeah.
it gives a challenge. Like we were talking about earlier, it gives the artist a challenge, and it gives them a chance to sort of like come out of their shell and do
Right.
something different, which
Yep.
I think we always end up doing something cool that we weren't expecting to do here. So
Hell yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool for me. I mean, I'm kind of a newbie too in it all, and so it's so cool to hear some of that feedback. I'm so curious. Like, what are some of the other elements you are like? There's a difference between Sugarshack. Like, what are some of those other things that you'd say? I mean, you've done a lot.
Well,
You've been to a lot
I mean-
of other places and stuff.
Production wise,
That's a really loud plane.
This never happens. I don't know what's
Feels like it's crashing.
definitely production wise, I mean, through the years to see it grow into this multicam, like serious, like the cinematic value behind it and the audio, I think has always been a major focus. But also you just show up and it's Eddie's house. It's like the comfort level and everybody just gets it. I think that infuses into the performance 100%. And I think a big part of Eddie's skills at like manning the ship is being a musician first.
Yeah, for sure.
And then getting behind the camera and knowing how to talk to artists.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and knowing
It
how
really
to film
does.
and edit and like filtering through that lens makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In all video editing, but
Well-
especially in a live situation like this.
Right.
What really makes it different is, you were doing this, but then you started doing the one takes, and then you started doing the updates for Reggae Rise Up,
Yeah.
and Cali Roots, and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen me out doing various production jobs at those festivals. And,
Right.
Like, I see you guys in action out there, like, getting it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it makes me so proud to see, I was one of the first bands down here, and then to see you guys, like, explode into, like, every festival. Like, Sugarshack, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. I was like, Sugarshack, I need you to do my wedding.
Hell
And
yeah.
you thankfully did that too.
That was so
But
fun.
they don't do weddings anymore unless, you're...
We do musician weddings. That's like all
yeah,
we do now.
They do homie
Literally.
weddings.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I'm thankful for that. But, like, you guys have done a lot more than just the sit down and play. You've gone out and sort of documented the scene as it's happening.
Yep.
And now anybody who's interested in checking out the reggae rock world can easily just go to your YouTube channel and see exactly what's happening right now.
Right.
You guys have become the aggregate.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that's what's
rad.
different.
That's why I knew. I was like, no, I need to
drop
ask
this?
that.
Can I
I
drop
need to
this
take
mic?
that question. I need to ask her that question. You got something to say?
I love you guys.
Yeah, man.
We love y'all
We're
too.
proud of
man.
you guys.
We love y'all too. It's been, I mean, I think since, I don't know, Cali Roots was early for us, Cali Roots, Carolina. So we met y'all early on.
Yeah.
And then, like,
Yeah.
every other year, we probably do this, right?
Yeah. I mean, if we're coming to Florida, we try to swing through.
Especially if we have new music, which has happened to be like
Yeah.
Kind
right
of
around
rhythm,
the time
yeah.
we come
That
around
rhythm,
here.
For sure.
Hell yeah.
It's rad.
Experience the joy of growing your own citrus tree with Via Citrus. Via Citrus delivers Florida citrus trees directly from their family farm to you. They arrive to your door ready to grow right from the box. Whether you're looking to enhance your backyard, brighten up the office, or add something fresh to your apartment, Via Citrus connects you to the perfect tree. They can even thrive indoors, with repeat customers as far as Alaska. All you need is daily direct sunlight for 4 to 6 hours and your tree can flourish inside. With 6 varieties available and more coming soon, Via Citrus trees are the perfect addition to your home. Order your citrus tree today with 3-day shipping by visiting viacitrus.com.
Yeah, you guys are putting out new music. I mean, Strata is out.
Strata's out.
Strata's out.
So good.
What are some of the
yours.
differences? What were some of the things, like, when you went into it? What were some of the stuff you're like, all right, this is what we want to do, or direction, or was it, how was that? Well, I mean, I know there's no one way of going about it, but I'd love to hear the inception of it, or the start of it.
Well, it was like the recording session we did in New Orleans, I think, was the first new things, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to place. It's like it's been on like a 3-year, slowly writing trajectory, I guess.
Yeah.
Because if you think of, we typically, so we don't all live in the same state. So if we go on tour, we'll pad in a week before or after to either write and record. And so I remember we booked a session in St. Pete to write,
Yeah.
and that's where we did like Begging for It, and maybe one other
Keeping
came
On?
out. Keeping On, perhaps.
I think Keeping On was later that we did that at my
Anyway.
house. But
They're kind of just like, it's been a collection of different like sessions, maybe 3 months apart, 3 months apart, 3 months
Yeah.
apart,
Cool.
and then
I think
last June we
was it June?
recorded
Yeah.
the rest.
They came out to my house in Maryland, and we just like set up all the gear, and we were like, let's just go for it. Let's finish the album. And we wrote, 7? I think?
Yeah.
Six songs. We had Begging for It from New Orleans already, but we did 6 more, and we didn't write lyrics, but we wrote 6 more instrumentals and recorded everything for them, everything that we needed to as a band.
Whoa.
And then Will took it back to LA and made some mixes for us to sing vocals to. And then when it came time to put vocals down, we had mixes that were solid, that were like felt good to sing to. And I think that was a major difference. And also like I think the start of it was we went to New Orleans and we sat down the night we played in New Orleans, and Nick said, I want to approach this like we go in and we just make something up on the spot, which is something we've never done. We've always written everything before we go to the studio. We don't want to waste any time.
Yeah.
So this was the first time we were like, okay, let's go in the studio and write just a song in the studio, spend a couple hours, and then record it.
Yeah.
And
We're
we
like,
did
we
that.
deserve this. We're gonna splurge.
Hell yeah.
On a
it was
studio.
like a field trip
Because like
for us, you know?
bands coming up at this level, the economical decisions are
Yeah.
like what inform your creativity sometimes.
Yeah.
That's why we would do like extremely meticulous pre-production, because it's like we bought 5 days at the studio and we absolutely have to get this done. There's no time to stop and ask, should it be this chord or this chord? It's like
Incoming.
we had to
What's going on?
This is crazy, man. I don't know.
we had to lock that
we going
in.
to work?
But
It's mosquito.
we were,
I think it's mosquitoes.
like over the years we've done bigger studios and had people help us with budgets, but like it's kind of like we went through everything. Eddie came with us to Sonic Ranch,
Yes.
Hell yeah.
which is amazing Class A
Went there with Ballyhoo
world class
too.
studio.
Wow.
But all that knowledge we gained back to New Orleans, we're like, let's just ball out in this nice studio and see what happens.
Yeah.
And then that we wrote Friends and Begging for It there, just the instrumentals, and sat on those for like a year or
Yeah.
two.
They just kind of sat in
whoa.
the back pocket.
But all to say,
Wow.
we have gone full circle and ended up back at Ted's house, and with all of our newfound knowledge, though, and we recorded the basic tracks there, and I finished them in LA, just sharing files. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
So there was no
Super
there was
unique
no
way of going
preconceived
about
concept,
it, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. And just in
Yeah.
my head, I'm thinking, as from a songwriting perspective, I have always flipped it. I'll always have a line, and then from that I'll start to shape the instrumental. So it's kind of racking my brain to think about flipping it, which is really cool. But I don't think I've ever
yeah.
tried to flip a song really like that.
I guess it could be maybe considered like a hip hop perspective,
Sure.
where a hip hop artist comes at something they don't have the ability to make the music, so somebody else gives them a beat, and they're like, oh, I can now
And then
make the
they'll
music
go
to
on
it.
top of that. Makes sense.
I guess I was a big fan of hip hop. I still am, but like actually tried to do hip hop when I was younger, and I didn't think I was good at it, so I stopped doing it and started singing. But I still do approach things like that where I'd rather have like an instrumental that'll give me some sort of like visual in my head.
Wow.
And then work from there, as opposed to like trying to make something work around words. It doesn't work like that as well for me as it does to have music already and then put words to it.
Love it. Love the
Sick.
human brain.
Yeah,
and
it
how
could
the
go
brain
either
works.
way.
It's crazy, man. I love it.
That's another thing of just the time constraint where it's like it's easy for us to come up with like a groove or a chord progression or something like that feels good, and it's like we're here together for 2 days to come up with lyrics. Takes me like I'll run over the same lines for like a month or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like until
Fair
it's
enough.
right. So it's like we could, you know, ad lib melodies here and there, but lyrics, it is kind of nice with this band to, like, you could really sit with the instrumental and see where your mind
I don't
goes.
remember which song it was. It might have been Begging For It, but you sent an ad lib or just like a mumble track. We're calling it mumble track, where you go, Mama Bunny, Mama, Mama Bunny. But you said like Begging For It, I think just kind of freestyling.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think you said, are you saying Begging For It? He was like, I don't know. It kind of sounded like that. And then like a month or two later, it was like, maybe it wasn't that song, but there was like one song where I think we took just something that you freestyled,
of your subconscious,
and then we wrote around that.
It's real. It's real.
It's real. Telepathy?
It is. Where you're like, all right, here's the song, and then you just do the mumble track, but like actual words will come out.
Yeah.
And it like
It is real.
That is part of the weird magic.
Yeah. Or when you're just walking and you're not thinking of something and you have that line,
Exactly.
and you're like, there it is. Grab my phone.
It falls out of the sky.
Grab it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If you don't, at least now, like getting older, if I don't write it down, I'll
gone.
regret it the rest of my life because it's just gone. So
gone.
like that's one of the practical good uses of cell phones is that they're right there and you're like, "Brrr, okay, it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Some people are like, well, if you forgot it, it's not a good line. I'm like,
No.
actually,
way.
I don't.
No, I just didn't have a
I just
notepad.
don't have a memory.
Sometimes you have that stream of consciousness, like you've got that connection, and you're flowing, and you're like, I have to, or I'll never get this combo of words the same way again. Yeah.
I've actually, side note, not written lyrics on paper since like 2013, I think.
Whoa. Oh, wow.
Whoa,
He probably
Jay-Z.
has.
Jeez.
And I'm not saying that because like I'm green or anything. I'm just saying like as soon as the cell phone became a way to
On literal paper.
Yeah.
like
Pen and paper.
I write every Christmas. My mom has this book, and I handwrite the lyrics to our songs, and I got to put Strata on there now for this Christmas. But
cool.
Wow.
that's the only place where my handwritten
That's a
lyrics
nice gift.
exist.
That's really nice.
So there is that. So
Where's
there's one.
mine?
That's why my mom is the gatekeeper of that. But
Jeez.
Do you enjoy that? Like, or are you like, damn, I got to write all the lyrics out to this?
That's a lot.
I enjoy it at first, and then my hand starts cramping up, and I'm like,
because you
"Damn
don't
it,
write
Mom.
anymore.
Can't I just print them out for you? I'll make you a hard copy."
I will say the new album has a lot of like new elements of Passafire, and then a lot of like the classic elements of Passafire that I feel like that I fell in love with like however many years ago.
What is a classic element of Passafire? Someone said when we put out Down That Road, they're like, this sounds like classic.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's the
That's
one.
what I'm thinking.
I was
too.
like, I wonder
Classic.
what I don't know what that even means to me.
There's something about that one.
The clav, the
and
True that.
like
Okay.
the groove, groove of it,
The pace.
I do that. Will could tell you actually what it is, but when you like do the pinky, half a step, the funk thing.
Dominant seventh to a sixth.
There you go.
There it is. Yeah. Well, he said.
He's the library, and I'm just the guy who plays it.
Just like the pinky.
Yeah,
Pinky.
that's just something that, as a player, you have these things that you just get stuck doing all the time.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I do a lot.
It's a go-to.
Yeah.
But I do it in Rude Boy. And
Okay,
I do it in
yeah.
a couple other songs.
Okay,
but
well, there you go.
But do you say that's what starts creating a sound, like an artist?
Exactly. I
Sound,
think
yeah.
they hear that and they're like, "Oh, that's a sound I've heard before." They maybe don't know that it's that, but I think that when I revert to my old ways.
Yeah.
And when anybody in the
That sounds
band
like
reverts
classic
to their own
Passafire.
ways.
Exactly. Classic.
Yeah,
cool.
when we use instrumentation, much like some older albums, which that one definitely is just like the raw
Yeah. Guitar,
drums, bass, guitar, and fat distorted clav, which we've always been kind of obsessed with since we got into Giant Panda and
Oh, hell
Giant
yeah.
Brown's Body and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
Rad. Love it.
And I like some of the new vibes you guys got on there. A little more like poppy stuff.
Yeah.
Pop's cool.
Yeah, I like
Genre
of those
bending
tunes.
is
Production
is cool,
wise,
man.
yeah, there's some
It's
of those
rad.
for sure.
Yeah. On the
There's a
production
lot of
side.
cool pop artists out there right now that are like changing the perception of that term.
Yeah.
In my, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
I used to be like, pop?
True.
No, that's like,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I feel like
cheesy.
indie, the indie scene or the independent scene was just because it was so small and underground for so long. It
Right.
was so limited.
Yeah.
But now you have a lot of pop underground. Every genre has independent underground scene.
Indie
now.
pop
Sure.
artists
Yeah.
are huge.
Huge.
They're not necessarily
Yeah.
indie.
Yeah, and they're not
anymore.
even indie.
But the indie pop
It
genre
evolved
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
something that it wasn't originally. But yeah, I think it's fascinating. I love genre bending stuff.
I think all four of us, that's one, other than reggae, like that's definitely one thing that all four of us we get into is like new
Right.
indie pop stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, different pop. I guess. Well, they're just running out of genre names because it's just like
Yeah.
I don't know what to call this, so let's put indie in front of it.
And core
Yeah.
so
stuff.
indie alternative post something.
Yeah.
Where it's like
Poster pre.
certain like the sound of an electronic snare triggers the pop in your
Totally.
Yeah.
brain.
Totally.
Yeah.
We have one on one of our songs, and it's like you're like, oh, it's a little familiar, more poppy,
Yeah.
even though maybe the songwriting
Wow.
isn't from that
Isn't.
standpoint.
People have
but
gotten more used to hearing the consistency of a.
Four on the
sure,
floor.
the,
and-
the
electronic.
repetition, yeah.
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 But I like to try to. We lean into some of those, but still like make them fresh for us, where it's not like, oh, Passafire just went full pop.
Yeah,
right?
no way.
Oh,
Yeah.
shut
Yeah.
this off.
No, it's not that.
There aren't any tracks that are like, fully programmed drums and bass. Like everything was still played. Some things might have been chopped and moved around and stuff, but like,
And
And there's limits to that, where it's like when you're producing, you make that decision where it's like, if I slide this bass note over onto the grid, it will completely like change the feel
Yeah.
for good or bad. But then as I think Nick is probably our pop gatekeeper. He'll
Nice.
be like, this sounds
yeah,
Nope.
like
it's
just-
too
you can't you
rigid,
don't
yeah.
know the word to say. It's just like, this doesn't feel right for us.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll take it there and then maybe take it back a line, or you know
Pull it
what I
back.
mean.
Yeah,
But
Nick
That's good.
always just wants it to groove more, and I love that. It's the groove,
And that could
and
mean
sometimes
so
the
many
groove could
things.
mean it's off, not on.
Right.
So
And as a band, you guys are still fully independent. I mean, or
Yeah.
somewhat, we released this on our own label, Flame Guy Records, which Start From Scratch was released on that as well, and it now contains our back catalog from before. Not the ones that are in Easy Star, still Easy Star, but that is independent. We have management and booking.
sure, at least creative control and,
Creative
and all
control.
of that.
yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
write, record.
So, and that's
produce
been
our
that way
albums.
from day one. You guys have always maintained that.
Yeah,
Yeah, even with record labels, we've never been told like, no, don't do that, do
Mm-hmm.
this. With Easy
Yeah.
Star, they're a reggae label, so we
so already.
kind of felt obliged to like play into that with
Mm-hmm.
them. But they weren't really like, make it all reggae. They
Yeah.
enjoyed. They told us over and over again they signed us because they liked that we kind of infused rock and reggae. So never had anybody really be like, no, that's not going on the album.
Sick.
It was
Yeah.
always our choice.
Love it.
Nice.
Hey, look, are you tired of waking up in the morning with a gnarly hangover from drinking too much booze? We've got a really, really awesome alternative for you. It's called Goodfellow Botanicals. Goodfellow makes euphoric, mood-enhancing, non-alcoholic teas. They're kratom-based, and right now we're offering a spiced honey citrus blended flavor. Kick back, relax, pour yourself a glass at home, at the beach, hanging out with friends, get social with it, hang out, pick up a growler. You can head over to @Goodfellow Botanicals on their Instagram to place an order, to learn more about what goes into their euphoric tea blends. Enjoy, kick back, hang with us, enjoy some Goodfellow. I'm just zooming out now a little bit. I want to, because you guys have been together for so long and we kind of chatted beforehand, but I would love to hear, you guys have been on the road, in the studio, songwriting now for almost 20 years. I know there have been some people that have left, some people that have come in, but I would love for you to take a little bit of time to unpack some of your dynamics, like relationship dynamics over the years, and like what were some of the challenges and like growing points where you're like, all right, this is, did you have make it or break it moments, that pushed you to grow, that pushed you to stay together? And now, I mean, you guys have, it seems to me like you've kind of figured some things out, like how do we stay together and still be successful after this period of time? So tell me that journey,
Well, you and Nick had a head start on everybody with the whole relationship thing, because they're brothers.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
So, they
Better
went
or
through
worse,
all
like
of that. Which, that's kind of how I know Will. We lost our bass player that we had prior to Will. Or he said, I'm going to leave the band when you find a new bass player, which was nice of him.
wow.
And that was Tom Heat. Good dude. He's on the first album.
He's great.
He's the bass player on the first album. And he left, and Will was graduating high school, and we had kind of exhausted all of our bass friends in Savannah. We were kind of like, should we just hang it up? Like, we can't find another bass player. Should we just like do something else? And
I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, it was like,
I was like, oh man, these guys have a MySpace, and I listened to Barcelona. I was like, actually, this doesn't suck.
That's a great song.
it doesn't suck, but I can make improvements. Which you did. No, Will came down one time when he was in high school. You were 14 or 15 or something, and had like 11 bracelets on each hand, long hair. I think his hair was similar
I was
now.
fished out.
Fished out, like hippie kid. And he put 2 speakers, one on each side of the stage, and then he hooked it up to the stereo out of his delay pedal. So when he hit the delay, it was like, mom, 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 mom. And I'd never seen that. I was in sound design classes at SCAD, and I'd never seen that before.
Sick.
And so,
Wow.
he just rocked
If
out
an
with us as a
opening band did that
15-year-old.
today, we'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah, no. Get the
Can you put the amps together, please?
But this was just in our very infancy, like serious infancy, and Will came down to visit with the family, and we were like, hey, bring some stuff and jam with us. And he brought like not 1 but 2 amps and all of his pedals, and I was very impressed. I was like, damn, your little brother's really good. Fast forward maybe 4 years, 3 or 4 years, then he was graduating, and Nick was like, I'm not sure if Will wants to go to college or not, but we could maybe ask if he wants to come play bass for us, at least, for a little while. And I was like, does he play bass? He's like, does he play bass? He plays like 30 instruments. Like, okay, well, let's call him. Well, he's like, no, we got to call the parents first. They called the parents. And we're like, hey, can we take Will on the road with us? I know he's 18, but we'll be good.
Wow.
Yeah.
And luckily, John and Mary were just like, yeah, he doesn't seem to want to go to college.
Like,
and
well,
that'd
he has
be
no
better
other
than-
prospects right now.
Right.
So, just as long as he doesn't do drugs or have sex.
Yeah. Which, we were like, yeah, sure, great. And then he came out with us, and there were shows where he was like, had to wait out in the van because it was 21 and up. And
Damn.
we went through that whole thing. But I think immediately, I kind of skipped one of the most important relationships. The whole reason why we're here is the fact that Nick and I went to college together. We just very randomly met each other through some friends of friends and just started jamming together. And we've never been in another band since. Like,
Cool.
It just clicked right there and then. I'm like,
Cool.
Sorry. I'm getting a little emotional
Yeah.
talking about it because it's like, it's crazy to think that was 20 years ago
Yeah.
and we had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
We had no
I
idea.
didn't know you were considering hanging it up either.
I don't know if it was like
Tom.
hanging it up, but we just couldn't find somebody that fit what we were trying to do. Everybody was either lame or like super technical, and we were just like, we want somebody that just knows what to do and does it. And then Will came into the picture and came down. We took him. We put out our first album, and we're like, okay, we're going on tour all summer. You ready?
Here we go. Here we go. Wild Wings Cafe. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
All of them. All of them in the Southeast. But,
and then, you know, so Nick and I started the band, and we had other players here and there, and Adam was a big part of the band. We have to mention Adam. He definitely wrote some of our better songs
100%.
when we first started. And he kind of, you know, respectfully bowed out. He was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do the road thing anymore. So, which left us to try and find a keyboard player, and that was another challenge.
That was definitely a challenge. I think at the time, though, like looking back, it was, I mean, in my mind, even when, I mean, Adam had been with the band since roughly the start, and we did 3 albums together, and he's an amazing songwriter and helped the business grow. He helped, you know, that's like, it was like 6 or 7 years. Like, that's, whatever trajectory you think a band has in your mind, 6 or 7 years in and you're still like at a certain plateau, it's like it definitely makes you reckon with like a life decision, especially about, you know, late 20s.
What do I do?
Do I jump in the life
You're
raft
like,
of this sinking
I'm
ship
gonna
or
go,
not?
should I start a family or I don't know. But those, when he left, I mean, in my mind it was just like, well, we have to find, like, I don't think the rest of us were like, it was just default, let's keep going.
Yeah, we're absolutely going to keep going. But I think we asked maybe 4 or 5 people that we trust. We weren't going to ask just anybody. So we asked people that we really thought would be a good fit. And a lot of people were just like, no, or I can only do it for this much a day. We're like, we don't even make that much a show.
We don't know what you're talking about.
So what are you even talking about? And so then, you know, Mike was on the road, or we were on the road with the Expendables, and he had covered their music, put it up on YouTube, put up like a looper cover of, I'm not sure which song at this point. Mike, what song is it? Down, Down, Down. Okay. He did a cover of Down, Down, Down. And
he just poured it down 3 times.
Their old Expendables manager at the time saw it and called Mike up and was like, hey, or emailed him or something and said, we want you to come out here and play Down, Down, Down with the band because you can obviously do it on keys. Like, we have a keyboard. Just come. Or did you bring your own keyboard? Doesn't matter. It was Raul's keyboard.
Dude, that's epic.
So he got up and played Down, 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 and we hung with him a little bit at the show and like kind of randomly just remembered him one day. I remember we were sitting on, here's my photographic memory. We're sitting on my side porch of the house on 60th Street, and we were building like road cases. Remember, we built all those road cases. Nick built them. We were all just out there drinking beer, but
like, remember that guy from YouTube? That's just been
somebody was like, no, remember that guy from the Expendables show that we met? He was cool. He likes good beer. Like, that's a big part we've been talking about that recently, is like somebody that comes on the road to you has got to be a good hang.
Totally.
As well as a good musician if you're going to be in the band.
Yeah.
And so we reached out to Mike and said, hey, what do you think about quitting your job or just like leaving your job for a little bit and coming on tour with us for a little while? Because at that point, Adam had said, I kind of just want to like see what it's like to not go on the road. So it was like a trial period.
Oh.
And so we did. Mike came on at first, and it was just like he didn't know if he was going to like be in the band permanently. We were like, just
that's
to let
insane
you know.
that we even entertained that.
Yeah, it is. But like, you know, like you said, 6 or 7 years that you put into it, 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, it's
Adam put into
emotional.
it. You got to at least give him a chance to like figure it out. But as you know, as soon as Mike joined and things started clicking and we started rolling with it, it was like, well, we can see what's obvious here, what's happening.
Yeah.
It's like Mike's now in our band.
That was just like like
Hell yeah, Mike.
it's just like a breakup. It's like, you know, you say goodbye 7 times before it sticks. You know, I think him
And
being
then
like,
you
I
meet-
might be back. But like, you're not gonna be back.
No.
But let's you know, there's so much love is like evolves. Traveling and like across the country and getting into like super great nights and highs and like ultra lows where the show
just,
sucked
like,
and the tires flat
being
and it's 90
agitated
degrees
about
and
everything,
like we're
yeah.
all gonna go sleep in a hotel room together.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's all pile in one room.
It's like there's no free
Forced to
space.
work out your
Yeah.
conflict.
And as far as your question about managing relationships, that is the key, where it's like even if you're the best musicians and you write the best songs, that's secondary to how much you can stand each other at your best and worst. And that's something that we just kind of learn as we go, and as we get older, everybody has those boundaries, and we've managed to stick with it long enough to afford ourselves. We don't all live in like the same house anymore, which we did at one time.
I think spreading out geographically has definitely helped prolong our relationships, because we did live in like, you and Nick lived together for a while, and you lived with me, and we had 2 other crew members with us. It was a band house situation. At first, it's really cool, and then it goes downhill quick. You're just like, I wish everybody would shut up.
Like walking out of the van from a 3-month tour, you're like, all right, later. And then you go into the same house. You're like, God.
Yeah, you're like, so there you are again. Let's hang out.
You're still
more.
here? All right.
Yeah, no, it's adulting. We got older.
Those things,
right, exactly.
You definitely hit that juncture where, you do however many tours in a row, and you feel plateaued out, and you're like, what's the key? What are we doing? You see other bands that started after you grow faster, and all those things are very real, and those are hard decisions to make, but we definitely did a conscious decision to slow down touring a few years ago. And try to just not get burned out. That was definitely a make or break moment.
I was feeling really burnt out, and I went to the rest of the band and said, guys, hate me if you want, but I need to take next year off. And I was like, please don't hit me.
Damn.
Everybody was like, oh, thank God. I'm like, yeah, we've been going hard, because we came off of 2 summers of going to Europe, one that was 3 months straight, and then one that was 7 weeks, and then a lot of just kind of sitting around, which, those tours, along with the U.S. tours that we were doing nonstop here, we got to the point where we were on tour with Revolution, and that was a huge tour with West Coast driving. You go out there and you're doing 8 hours a day, 9 hours. And I just got so burnt out, and I think we were in Texas, and I sat down in the hotel. I was like, guys, can you come to the pool and sit down and talk? And I said, I want to take some time off. I don't know how much, but I need some time off. And everybody was like, yeah, let's do that.
Nice.
Because this is driving me crazy, and I'll probably love it a lot more if I can come back to it and go clear my head.
That's kind of what, touring, it builds up, and then you take a break, and then you recharge. Right. And there's that. And not everybody makes it through that cycle.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm done. I want to make, I want to start a family, or I want stability, or I want, this amount of money for my lifestyle, or.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the miracle for Passafire, I think, is that we've just stuck with it, I guess.
Yeah. It's our baby. We've done so much to care for it over the years that there's no way that we're gonna abandon.
Yeah,
we've adapted, and do what we can, but it's still going.
Yep,
awesome.
I can relate with the shack.
Yeah,
for sure.
I can relate. Same vibes.
I'm never gonna give that up.
Same vibes. Group of dudes, and just going a million miles an hour every day.
Yeah,
and highs and lows all the way. We've had some dark times for sure. But we push through. Same guys.
I'm sure you guys have that telepathy
wrangling.
Yeah, we absolutely.
You know exactly how everybody works. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it right now. When every time Greg came in here and did the thing, every single one of you said, "Thanks, Greg."
Yeah.
I got such a good feeling in my heart every time.
Hell
I was that's how you guys are.
Yep.
That's
hospitality.
Why I love you guys.
That's how we do. That's it. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Hey, there's Greg over there. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks,
the
Greg.
Shack, it's the same thing. Any creative endeavor is such a high risk, and it's nonstop work. There's not a day off.
Yeah.
You could always be doing something, and it takes a while to realize what your individual balance is, and if it lines up with the people in your crew, great. If not, then it's then you have to make that decision to split paths, or wrangle personalities, all that.
It's more than just the cup that brings warmth and focus to your daily routine. It fuels good times and new beginnings, and unites old friends. And like live music, we gather wherever it's brewing. Beneath these palms, we discuss our dreams. We share songs of love, intention, and inspiration in its purest form. Every pour sparks creativity, and every sip starts a story.
Last question. I'd like for you each to answer. I mean, even Eddie weigh in too. I'd love to hear your thoughts on just the multimedia component. You know, I'm gonna ask a band question, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on company startups and stuff.
Cool.
But you know, a lot of the people that listen in are young musicians, fans obviously, but a lot of people are trying to hustle and put their music out now. And you guys have been in it. You've been authentic through it, you know, throughout the years, as we've been talking about. So I'd love to hear just what's some advice that you would give to some of the younger kids now that are starting this journey. Maybe you're having a hard time finding themselves in it, or just some of the, you know, managing relationships in their new bands. And I mean, if you could kind of pass anything on to the up and coming generation, what would that be?
It's really interesting that you would ask that, because I literally got a text from a friend of mine who's much younger that's in a band that I really love and respect. They're one of the best younger bands coming up that I've experienced, and I've gotten to record them and stuff, but just to watch them play, it gives me hope that like their generation is actually like onto something good. And Johnny hit me up today, and he was like, okay, I think we want to tour, but nobody's taking us seriously with our friend as our manager. So we want a manager, we want a booking agent. What do we do? How do we do this? And like, you know, I thought back to when we had that same thought, like, we want to do this for real, but how? How do you actually put this into motion? And I just told him, like, you need to like reach out to a professional management agency, bypass having your friend who says he's good at business manage your band.
That's good advice.
Like, yeah, for sure. He says he's good at business, but this is a totally different business based on totally different parameters. And you can go to school for business, but unless you went to school for music business, then, you know, you don't really need to be messing around with it. But a lot of times it's just somebody's friend who's like, yeah, I'm good with numbers, I sell weed. So like, which, you know,
which is fair.
May or may not have been a situation for us at one point.
Dude, this guy knows his stuff, dude.
Yeah. You know, but I would say definitely hire your friends to do jobs. You know, your friends that you trust that play instruments, like you can maybe be a guitar tech or whatever, like, but for management and booking and stuff, nobody's going to take you seriously if Joe Schmo, nobody calls them and says, I'm trying to book my band. Like, you got to really, if you want to be on a touring level, you have to align yourself with professional agencies and pay that, you know, 10 or 15% out of your monthly income, because that's what it costs to make the money that you make on the road, and that's what it costs to get the shows that you get. So if you realize that up front and don't try to like bypass everything and do it, like DIY is something that we've done a long time, but there was a point where we were like, okay, this is not going to happen the right way unless we have people behind desks calling people that know other people.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To that point, well, first off, wear your guitar strap like as low as possible.
Yeah.
And you
only
need
do it once in your lifetime. Just get it.
You need to look cool before you do anything.
Mine comes up with like every year of age.
I
can't take it.
I think like to zoom more farther out from where like that level of band that Ted was describing is like, I think now there's a paralysis of you want to make music or you're already making music and you don't know how to share it. You don't know what the art should be. What's your vibe? What's your visuals on socials going to be like? And you want to get like this list of 100 things like airtight before, like, we need a logo. What's our font? We can't change the font. You're like, my favorite band has the same album cover for 10 albums. Well, who's going to be our artist? Like, there's that seeing the comparison of all the social media in your face about these artists that are like, where you're just like staring at your phone, like, oh man, this guy has so many followers. He's doing it upright. The decision, my advice is to like make if you're like thinking about what to do, just do the thing and like put it out. And the first one's going to be terrible, and like move on to the next thing. Move on to the next thing all the time. I mean, obviously put your artistic like vision into it, but I think a lot of people hit a standstill because they have an expectation for where they wanted to be, and it's like, this is a long game.
Yeah.
And 3 years, 5 years,
it's
10
only a
years,
short game for a select few.
some people catch on and run up, early, and that happens. But the reason that happens is because they're just out there releasing the song on SoundCloud with terrible art. Who cares? It caught on. The song wasn't even recorded well. Doesn't matter. It caught on.
Yeah.
It's like they weren't thinking about it, and that let their career blossom because they just constantly move forward without looking back. And the same thing happened to us as far as the booking agent question is like chicken before the egg. Like, I want to play shows, so I need a booking agent. But I need a booking agent to play shows.
Right.
We just booked our own shows as much as we could, got the attention of some bands that we played with, which morphed into a support slot, which morphed into an agent coming to our show and met us in person. And, it's like those things, the momentum is the most critical part. You don't have to get every little piece right.
Just get moving and get
just
started.
Do it. Like, if you have the ability to record and release music, just go.
I did tell him that too. I told him that we did all the Wild Wing cafes in the Southeast in order to raise money for
That's right.
Submersible. And
It's like, you'll give us what?
Submersible
Free
is what
wings?
got us signed to a lot of
$500, we're there.
That record got us our first record deal. So,
Yeah, wow.
we paid our dues in order to pay for that record, and we played places that maybe didn't have any interest. The people there didn't have any interest in us, but for us it was like paying our dues. We were getting practicing, and we were playing in front of crowds and learning how to navigate that.
Yeah, and last thing on that, like, the more reps you get in of anything, of like releasing an album, or even just don't devalue also just the practicing of your instrument or your craft. I feel like, don't expect an instant result from anything that you do. Just know that like you're growing internally and hold on to that knowledge,
That's good advice.
So good. The instant gratification thing, that's what you're really up against.
That's what you're up against, because it's
you're
in
up
our
against.
faces every day.
Yeah.
That's the culture, and that's not this lifestyle.
I would add to that, be yourself and be creative and unique, but also be open to other people just trying to help you. A critique is a way of helping someone if it's done right.
Yeah.
Be open and don't be, so closed-minded that like, this is how I did it, this is how it should be, because you may not understand that something you're doing isn't really kosher musically, or you may not understand that what you're doing to other people sounds a certain way. So like, open your mind to the fact that when someone tells you like, oh, you kind of sound nasally on that, or you kind of sound like frog throaty on that, which is something that we talk about. It's another part of our language. We'll be like, it's a little froggy. Do it again.
Froggy.
Or it's a little nasal, do it again. And like, that's a real thing.
Yeah, taking criticism for sure.
You really have to be open to people telling
Sure, you get
In a team environment?
trolled on YouTube every day.
Totally. And then internally, though, too.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
keep each other on our toes. And
People that you respect, I
For
gotta
sure.
add.
Yeah.
Not,
That you've
somebody
opened up.
100%.
You're
someone comes up to you
welcoming
at a show, man, your bass was good, but like, you could really improve on that one part. Like, don't listen to that guy.
Yeah.
But a really great producer in the studio says, that's not your register.
Yeah.
Let's take it down a little bit.
Right.
That's real. That's real.
Take that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think all those things that relate completely to the journey of Sugarshack, but I think one more on top of it is consistency. Is huge in our world. Booking bands and making sure we have content now 4 days a week. So keeping that
That's
consistency and making sure people don't forget about you but still maintaining like quality production value and entertainment at the end of the day. We're an entertainment channel. We talk about that all the time.
Yeah, y'all's consistency is super inspiring. I've always said that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
For us, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Just don't stop.
That's like it's an everyday thing, though.
Yeah.
Like, no days off.
But we're also, man, like finding a team that's down for that ride, especially having, the same 5 dudes since day one to this day, still pedal to the metal is crazy, man. It's like, that just adds so much to what we've done. And I don't know, speaks volumes. And now we're adding even more just awesome additions, doing stuff, I think surrounding yourself with people that are like better at you than other things too is a huge thing too.
That's huge.
You know what I mean? Like in all of our additions, we have like 3 new members of the team now over the last 6 to 12 months or something. And they're all like killer at their roles.
Yeah.
Crushing it. And everybody's just so energized to be a part of it and add to it and help just build even bigger and better to the next level. It's cool.
I'm a proud friend.
It's inspiring for sure.
Yeah.
Like even just for us, like the guys doing it, we're like always inspired. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It loops in on itself.
Exactly.
I love it because it all connects, right? If you can just get started with something and you can be consistent with it,
Right.
the creativity will start to kind of kickstart. You'll build that momentum, and then other people will want to join it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's awesome. I hear music in the background. It's always distracting. Trying to
Somebody's bumping it out.
That might be an
Anything
ice
else that
cream
you guys
truck.
Want to share before we wrap up? Anything you want to plug? Any shameless plugs or? I don't know.
No, just go listen to our new album, Strata, and share it with your
Brand new.
friends, your family. Share it with anybody that you think would like it.
Or maybe that you think they wouldn't like it, but then they do.
Send it to somebody that you don't like, and be like,
maybe
here's an album. Maybe we can work on a
Rebuild
relationship.
rebuild the relationship. Listen, my favorite song is this. Maybe you would like it.
I love it.
Put it in the background of your Instagram stories and Snapchats.
Do all
Your
the things.
TikToks.
I
Just
think
do all the things.
That's about it. Just thank you for having us. this has
thank
been
you
great.
guys for
We
coming.
appreciate you guys from the whole
This-
team. We appreciate
this-
you guys so much, and thanks for trusting us so early on, and then continuous
You
support all the way over the years, man. It's awesome.
you've maintained our trust throughout
Hell
the
yeah.
years.
Thanks, guys.
And it's been a beautiful relationship so far.
Fuck yeah.
We should take it to the next level.
Let's do it.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining the combo today. Make sure you like this video on YouTube, subscribe, turn on notifications, share with friends, all of this stuff. Find
Please.
it on every digital streaming platform, Spotify, Apple Music, blah, 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 blah.
Please and thank you.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
They know the things.
No, it's been great. Can't wait to have you back for another Sugarshack podcast. But for now, we're wrapping things up.
See ya.
Cheers.
Peace.
Later.
Good night. Woo. Cheers, fellas.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you guys.
You too.
Yeah.
I think that was good.
It was great.
Not too
so
bad.
good.
Likewise.
Felt good. No, not at all.
Okay.
told me in Texas that night
dude. Thank you.
shipped out. You did, because you got there and we all drank it with a mixed sweet. We were just like hanging out.
Do we have any green
Everybody
bean?
else went to bed.
I've been on a pen all day. So.
So, what do you do? No, this is what I do. And, yeah, you told me that night, but I didn't remember that.